Welcome to my channel, Tools for Ascension by Wolfgang, and I'm Wolfgang. And my gift to you is this guided meditation, very powerful meditation of how to protect against energy vampires. There is a reason why we drag butt and have a hard time, getting out of bed in the morning and, just barely make it through the day. And, there is a chance that your energy is being vampired, means your life force is being vampired. And we will be in this guided meditation, raise your awareness, get you into a higher state of consciousness, and then ask question, investigate, where are the major influences in your life that suck or vampire your energy, Is there an Xbox, a boyfriend that sucks your sexual energy out of you? Or is it that coworker that constantly chews your ears off? Well, maybe you're sleeping in a room where there is a dark portal because the previous tenant died of cancer there. And, so this dark portal is leaching all the light force. So there's always a good reason why you are having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. So are you, losing this life force somehow? Have your ancestors or family members or lovers been into the dark arts? The bad news is that they are most likely vampiristic because they do not get the love and chi from the earth and source and have to steal. And also they be possessed or are the minions, of the dark side too, that works through them to get to you, the one, the light worker, etc. Yeah. So, and then after this coming powerful guided meditation, you will have a better idea, who or what is stealing your energy. And then we will ask divine higher powers for a cleanse. And then I will show you some kind of spiritual kung fu moves, that are super helpful in dealing with energy vampires. Of course, like always, only accept what resonates with you. And absolutely no driving or operating heavy machinery. While you're there, also, give me a thumbs up and share your experience when you're satisfied. Now, I recommend you to do this sitting and breathe very strongly, sitting on an office chair, feet on the ground. Few people can, sit in a lotus position, for an hour, without their limbs falling off or their back hurting. If you lay down, it's good. You can go into deeper relaxation. Chances are you pass out, but that's good too. You can actually put this thing on a loop by right-clicking it and, put it on a lower sound, and you will get some pretty good results. And, whenever there is a question, it takes about 5 seconds before the result kicks in. Anything we request from the astral plane has a delay of 5 seconds. But now let's make sure that you agree, with what I'm saying. Especially later on, also agree with what I'm saying if you want to be under the protection or align with the intent that I'm putting out. You have to understand the good beings, they love to help, but they're not allowed to interfere, and, so you will have to ask them for your permission. Okay. So we ask that everything that happens in this meditation as well as from this meditation is for our highest good, and is also in divine harmony with the most benevolent outcomes, and that we are completely safe. We asked absolute source, to put a bubble of light around us as well as around our living space, whether you are living in a mansion or in a cell or in a tent. Please do so now. Amen. And now let's ask, for a clearing of energy of our space. So we asked that any dark thought forms from others as well as from ourselves, cords, portals, leaching energies and entities be cleared. Also any dark technologies that are designed to, let's say, sabotage us and keep us in a low vibration. Yeah, whatever needs to be cleared to keep us in a high protected environment we like to have done now. Amen, amen, amen. And you probably feel a shift in your energy. Smile and be grateful. And we also ask that any connections, cords, and contracts that we and our ancestors have done with the dark networks be cleared now as much as possible without us having to look at the details. Many of that stuff has to be looked in detail, but it can be done now. Let's do this now. Amen, amen, amen. And now smile and draw the love from Gaia, from Mother Earth, through your legs and through your root chakra, into your whole body, up in a deep inhale. Tongue to the palate. And then send your love into her, especially that stuff that you don't need anymore. So we ask that, any sabotage and trauma now to our rooting system that roots us into Mother Earth be cleared. Amen. 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 Very important. ABC. Unless you're grounded, you're really out of balance. So very important. It's kicking in now. Smile. Be grateful. And we ask that we be plugged into the most positive ley lines, crystal beds, even galactic ley lines, if we are ready for this. And, again, clear any dark programs and trauma and vows and curses that disconnect us from Gaia. Amen. Amen. And we also ask that we be connected to the most appropriate subterranean aspects of us that are approved by our high self. Amen. They are actually very advanced. They are very balancing emotionally. And we also ask dolphins and unicorns to put beautiful rainbows and joyful, playful energies around our heart. Amen, amen, amen. And now make sure again that you have your tongue at the palate and smile. And we asked for purification of our celestial chakras, again from any trauma, spells, curses, black magic. And now we ask that Milky Way Galaxy pours her love and light over us and through us. Amen. And smile and okay, starting now, you might feel this flow coming over you and through you. Just appreciate this. Actually, you can inhale it and send it into your body, into every cell of the body. We ask that this purify all the darkness from our body and bring us the latest updates. Amen. So many of you will feel tingling in your body or body parts. This is now that wherever there is tingling, there is higher chi. Higher chi levels, better chi levels is always a good moment. And so we imagine this white light coming onto us and through us as a healing agent, as uplifting for our highest good. And keep on smiling, tongue at the palate. And now we ask that the star nations of love and light, where we are incarnated, that are approved by our high self, contact us now. And you probably feel some kind of sensation around and above your head. So, and we ask them to clear the templates, spells, curses, and dark technologies that disconnect us from them and our higher self, our higher guidance, and to make sure that it cannot be reimplanted. Make this permanent, this positive change. Amen. And then those entities that programmed us negatively, we like to have taken to the courts of divine justice. Amen. 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 Also clear any jinn programs that are supposed to block us from being healers, prophets, channelers, or having just a decent connection with our higher guidance, and also make that a permanent change. Amen. And then activate our Stargate codes and reconnect us to our Stargate so we have proper guidance in this lifetime from now on. Okay, so the next thing is that the yes or no induction. So a yes can be perceived as a flow from the heart to the head, an uplifting feeling. Of course, if you're clairvoyant or clairsentient, you may just get full language or idea, but this is, simple beginner stuff. So we asked your high self to give you a yes now. Amen. And a no would be a flow of energy from the heart to the feet. Feels like a downer, kind of a negative feeling. And so we asked our high self to give you a no now. Amen. And that's just one method. Many of you probably know kinesiology. You could use this or a pendulum. A pendulum chart with degrees is very good. I have one freely available here in the see below on my website. No sign up necessary. So there is this point that we can lose energy through umbilical cords that are connected to the art objects, that we made. I give you an example. So my wife used to make crowns. And so one of her crowns, was used for a wedding, and many of them were used for a wedding, but that wedding went south. And symbolically, a lot of anger and separation energy, was put onto that crown. That crown was destroyed. But then, because my good wife, had birthed this crown, and, some of this energy, came to her. Of course, not to, it was sent back. But, these things, they can happen to our stuff. Now, another of her wands that she made was used for black magic. Of course, unbeknownst to us. And, of course, this has been rectified. You see higher authorities. But, she got some backwash from this. In a way, maybe that a gun manufacturer, gets a backwash of when his weapons are used for killing. So, if you are an artist or you create things, maybe even cooking or sewing and whatever, is there any backwash through umbilical cords, through which karma is dumped into you, or your energy, life force is stolen. Yes or no? And especially when you, on the social media like me, there can also be influences from this. So is your energy, are you losing energy through social media? Yes or no? And how much of your life force is being stolen from you through social media? In percentage, please. And maybe you are gaining energy through social media, being a star. People are grateful, people are thankful, people love you. Are you gaining good chi from social media? Yes or no? And ask how that life force is affecting you now. Amen. Now, before we get into actual vampirism, you can also lose a lot of energy through negative ley lines. Mother Earth has lines of, let's say, electromagnetic currents. You could say chi, just like a human body has, or everybody has. And some of them flow into the earth, which would be a draining energy if you're on them. And some ley lines, they flow upwards, which is exhilarating for you. So, are you losing life force by working or sleeping over a negative ley line? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you losing, through this negative ley line? Now, another reason why you're constantly wiped out is if you have a dark portal at your workplace or where you sleep. Now, a dark portal works kind of like a black hole, where your energy gets sucked out, into some other dimensions, many times to some other beings. And dark portals are created when there was a lot of suffering, like a ritual sacrifice, torture, somebody dying of cancer or suicide, something like that. So, if somebody died in your room before of cancer or painful disease, there's a high chance that there is a dark portal there, especially in hospitals. It came to my attention, I work with a lot of nurses, that there were certain rooms that was known, after 2 days, the client or the patient would die there. It was a dying room, yeah. Of course, that explained a lot. Is there a dark portal somewhere where you work or sleep? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you losing through this one? Now, there are people that are also bleeding life force from their knees, for instance. A lot of people bleed life force from their knees. Or the membrane that protects them. Astrally, the boundary of the force field is kind of disturbed. This can happen when you take too much LSD. I've seen a couple of people like that in spiritual communities. They were just useful only for playing flute on the field, and that was it. Complete space cadets. Or even with too much coke. Some people, they were, constantly stoned due to this. And of course, this can lead to so-called schizophrenia. So anyhow, do you have a lack of boundaries? Yes or no? And how much of your life force is leaking out of those now? And do you have holes or rips in your force field through which life force bleeds out? Yes or no? And how much of your life force bleeds out through those holes and rips? And just like you can have a portal in your bedroom, for instance, you can also have a portal in your body many times in past lifetimes through extreme violence, like gunshot wound or being strapped in front of a cannon, or black magic, torture and rituals, even through rape. There can be portals into your body created through which your energy can be stolen or is stolen by certain entities. Do you have any portals in your body? Yes or no? And how much of your life force is leached out through those portals? Now, one of the main reasons for losing life force is through cording. And here we're coming to the different forms of vampirism. And so cords are like energy connection, like big ropes looking like dark stringy spaghetti, mozzarella cheese. And so, I have several videos on cord cutting where I get into this. But the majority of people lose energy through those cords, and the majority of the vampires of the conscious and even unconscious vampires use cords to get into the life force of others. First of all, are you losing life force through cords? Yes or no? And how much life force of your whole life force, are you losing through those cords? How many percentage? So are you corded to chronic masturbators? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you losing to them? Alright, let's just get into details here. Are you courted by present lover or spouse? Well, is the Pope Catholic, right? But how much life force are you losing through those cords to your lover and spouse? Are you still called to ex-lovers or ex-husbands or wives? Yes or no? And how much of your general energy are you losing to those? And which one is the biggest energy sucker? Are you corded to rapists and sexual abusers? Yes or no? And how much of your life force goes to them? So, you may not have been raped or abused in this lifetime, but probably in past lifetimes. So, are you coded to sexual abusers and rapists from past lifetimes? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you losing to them? And sometimes we have been molested and, we were sleeping or we were roofied out or passed out or we were children or we have been given post-hypnotic suggestion. So are you accorded through rape and sexual abuse from this lifetime? Yes or no? And if there's several, which one was the worst? Now we are accorded to our parents, just coming from the DNA. So are you losing life force to your parents? Yes or no? How much of your life force is going to them? And how much of your life force is going to daddy? And how much of your life force is going to mommy? Are there any family members that are coding you and sucking your life force? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are they siphoning off? And who does most? Are you energetically vampired by coworkers? Yes or no? And how much of your life force goes to coworkers? How many percentage, please? And which one gobbles up the most? Are you coded to clients and losing life force to clients? Yes or no? Yeah, this is especially for healers, massage therapists too. And how much of your life force goes to your clients? And which one sucks the most? Are you coded to spiritual leaders, like spiritual masters, gurus, healers, psychics? Yes or no? And how much life force goes to them? Are most of those codings from this lifetime? And who is the worst? Are most of those codings from past lifetimes? Yes. No. And please give us an idea, what is the worst? Amen. Now the thing is, with spiritual masters from past lifetimes, in a general guru contract, you give praise and life force to the guru. It's called guru puja, where you worship your guru, which will uplift him and hopefully makes him more elevated so he can be a better guide for you, be more connected to source himself. Right? It's good that your guru is not in Maya. And so, of course, courts are being established, also courts, and vows of submission. And so it might have been for everybody's good. He helps you elevate and gives you his blessings, and you give him raw energy. But not everybody, not every guru did that, especially not dark spiritual masters. Black magic masters, some kind of coven here or there, or witches, whatever, which are vampiristic, and, your life force goes to them. There's a certain deal being done, and, then you are vampired, so to say, and mostly from past lifetime. I see this a lot. So, are you vampired a lot, from past life gurus and spiritual masters? Yes or no? And do you know them in this lifetime? Yes or no? Now, are you recorded through astral weapons? Yes or no? And let me just explain this to you. Well, there are enchanted swords and curses and poison and things like that. But they kind of generally act differently than what I call Draco weapons. So the Alpha Draconian, or the Rakshasas, according to the Hindu traditions, when they are used weapons, whenever the other person got wounded, there was an energy cord connected to this weapon, arrow, sword, whatever that was, lance, energy blast. And even if that person survived, the consecutive incarnations would be corded and could be manipulated, influenced, and also the energy being drawn and contaminated. I've come across this a lot. Many people that got wounded in the Battle of Kurukshetra actually got corded by those kind of Draco weapon, and this has still an effect. Okay, so let's ask again. Are you corded and losing energy through any type of astral weapons? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you losing through these? Now, of course, in my work, I go where the trauma is, and it's not always pretty there. This is not like, being on the beach and, the portal opens and the wise gray man comes in there. There are a lot of twin flame illusion or groupies, that think they're made, to be with this other person. And, they're very fanatical and obsessed about this, and they actually have been sacrificed in past lifetimes, to the benefit of this person, to become their bitch or to become their lover or servants. Most of these are not very positive. Well, in Pharaoh's cases I've come across where wives were even buried alive, which didn't work out very well for the Pharaoh. But, the entourage generally was killed, whether it was wife or servants. So they'd be together on the other side. And, being sacrificed like this creates the cord, especially when it's done with certain magic. which then leads to these twin flame, attachment, false twin flame attachment, and kind of a groupie consciousness. So are you affected by cords, that comes through being sacrificed? Yes or no? And we like to have this clear too now. Amen, amen, amen. Now another really weird thing, really woo-woo, is about cannibalism, yeah. So I found that when the brain was consumed, there was a cord and link, to that brain, of the person in consecutive incarnations formed. And, let's say intelligence, etc., was siphoned off. Same or similar with heart chakra, where love was siphoned off, and there were heart problems with the person that was vampired like this. And, of course, sexual energy, and on, depending which aspect, of that other person was consumed. Of course, blood is like a general thing to the whole person, through which you can be vampired. That's why the original vampire movies. So these consuming blood, even if that person lives later on, cords you to that person. And then you have a key to their back door. So, are you affected by the dark effects of cannibalism? Yes or no? And how much of your life force are you using? Yeah, if this happened to you, I advise you to a personal session. This is not some you should touch by yourself. And a lot of people lose life force because in past lifetime they very sincerely made contracts or vows and promises to always support somebody. And in this lifetime, this person may be dying and or having cancer and just living because, he's sucking you, and you can keep cutting those cords left and right daily, and they're being reattached because in past lifetimes you made that promise, so they have a legal right. Did you make contracts, promises, vows to always support somebody and losing life force through this? Yes or no? And if it's for the highest good, we like to have this cleared now. Well, maybe you are being vampired because your high self wants to teach you a lesson how this feels like. Is this the case in your case? Yes or no? Or do you have a lot of karma about being vampired or vampirism? Maybe you, in past lifetimes, were very active in vampire, stealing life force from others. Were you one of those? Yes or no? How about your ancestors? Were they energy vampires? Yes or no? And of course, those things are very complicated. Nothing for the novice to handle by themselves. My advice is get a professional in there. Now, most of my clients that lose a lot of life force, besides to ex-lovers and people they're heavily corded to, they are corded or get sucked by ghosts, discarnate humans. There are many reasons why humans, once they die and are out of their body, do not go into the higher dimensions, which would be considered heaven. Many or a certain percentage does not go into the light or to the higher dimensions, but stays around. And it's called the lower astral, from where they can look into the physical world, many of them. Some cannot. They're caught in certain realms. And so reasons they stay behind is maybe traumatic death or strong attachments, like, their factory or business or their family and lovers, or they want revenge and following, the murderer, around lifetime after lifetime, messing up his life. And, whatever the intent is, even if it's a dear granny that wants to help and assist, this little helpless grandchildren of her, they all need chi, they all need life force, because they're not getting it anymore from the physical body. So they're all vampires by design. They have to vampire humans, even if they are well-meaning. Right? So first question is, are you being vampired by ghosts? Yes or no? And how much of your life force goes to your ghosts? And how many are there, around bugging you and drawing on you, hitchhikers as well as karmic ghosts? Alright. And we ask divine beings, to assist those ghosts. Go into the proper love, healing, and ascension temples. Help them with forgiveness. In case they are malevolent and do not want to reform, take them to the highest courts of divine justice. Amen. You better agree. These are your ghosts, not mine. Your life. I'm not your daddy. Now, some of those really tough cases, and a lot can go down that road, is when your ancestors, this could be your mommy, your granddaddy, or further down the line, were on the dark side. They made contracts with certain entities and basically sold your soul or sold the souls of their descendants, to the dark side. Of course, that is highly illegal, but it happens all the time, and somehow they're getting away with it. Yeah, unless you call it in and insist, you gotta be pretty crafty, because those demons, they don't like it when you take their food away. The question is, did your ancestors sell you to the dark side? And that's why you're using life force, yes or no? Well, let's just ask Archangel Michael and, the other beings of love and light, depending on your tradition, to please liberate them now and take perpetrators to the courts of divine justice. Amen, amen, amen. Now, of course, we're getting here more and more into the woo-woo side, but a lot of, the light bringer clients of mine, indigos and star hoppers and so on, that come here to uplift, they, suffer from demonic oppression, which is, they lose life force to them. That's just one of the things they do, besides messing with your mind and messing with your environment and, affecting people around you. So Are you losing life force through demoniac oppression? Yes or no? And I mean, their reason is just, as the light bringer, if you come from the Pleiadians or you're an old Atlantean, you have a lot of life force and you can do a lot of good. So, so you're like an officer in the army, and so they're trying to take you out as soon as you get born. So that's just the background to this. So let's just check out, what kind of stuff is attached to you. Are there any entities, smaller entities, like, rats or gargoyles attached to you, sucking your energy, yes or no? And how about the grays? Are they siphoning your energy, your life force, yes or no? Well, how about a human? Witches and warlocks, on the dark side, are they siphoning your life force, yes or no? And how about the Atlanteans? These were the ones with the long skulls, taller than humans, kind of a little bit more feminine features, beautiful beings. I mean, much larger pineal gland. Very powerful beings. They're the Atlanteans. Of course, there were dark and light ones. Many of them got compromised by the Draco. So, are you being courted and siphoned by Atlanteans? Yes or no? And are you also courted and siphoned, vampirite by the Alpha Draconians? Yes or no? And as we're going off the food chain here, are you being siphoned and vampired by Dark Anunnaki? Yes or no? And, there might be even something else, like insectoid, chimeras called in Sanskrit. Are you siphoned by any other races? Yes or no? And if you're psychic enough, you ask that this be shown to you now. Amen, amen, amen. And of course, now we asked Absolute Source and everybody that can help and is approved by our High Self, like Archangel Michael and all the other angels, and also all the spirit guides and the divine dragons. There are dragon protectors, all over the place. And then there is also unicorns and saints, and being like Jesus and Mother Mary and Lord Nrsimhadev. And Lord Krishna, and beings like Lord Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. All kinds of aspects, of the love and light. So we asked all those, to assist us now, to clear those cords. Please spin anything in our life, in the light affirming direction, while clearing, these vampiristic cords. Amen. And while this is going on, please, please, please clear any vampiristic cords, portals, intrusions from false realities and shadow realms, all the way to the highest soul aspect, and also clear our ancestral bodies. Amen, amen, amen. And then also clear all entities that have corded us through trauma, rape, wounds, curses, implants, etc. or that have been placed onto us, from dark force sabotage to disempower us. Clear any recording devices and vows and contracts, any technology and AI influences and interferences through which we are vampired and controlled. And that can be cleared now without us having to personally witness it. Amen, amen, amen. And then pretty much clear all the karmic residues and leftover that are still stuck anywhere in planetary and personal light bodies and grid system. Amen. And now also please open and guard the portals through which we can receive our support, our strength and spiritual guidance. Amen. And also start liberating our soul fragments that are still stuck in creation, especially the ones on the dark side if possible. And of course, bring our energies that have been scattered or taken back to us and integrate them into our body and ground us also fully back into our bodies. Amen. 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 And 1, 2, 3, fully grounded and back in vacant consciousness again. All right, and I hope you kind of have an idea, how you got plugged, how much you got plugged. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. The worst is over now. Before you had no idea. Now you know what's going on. It can only go better from now on. If you didn't even know that people, were coming into your house and clearing out your fridge here and there a little bit, now you know. Yeah, it's better. It's better to be aware of it. And now let's talk about, several techniques that you can do in general, for, keeping, let's say, vampires away. And so one of the things, that is very basic but very quite effective is to anoint yourself. I mean, you can make holy water, or Ganges water for the Hindus, if you are a Brahmana or a priest. But also essential oils are really good. So any essential oil with a purple or violet or love vibration is very good. Rose oil, rosemary, oh my God, peppermint, frankincense, pine, a lot of them. And so you can put them on a Q-tip or have your little mix, put it on a Q-tip, and then just go through all the chakras, front and back. It takes you 30 seconds. And then leave the Q-tip laying somewhere and it still smells. Another way that I do much more often, is like I have one of those spray bottles, water in there and a shot of vodka so stuff doesn't rot, and then I have my mix of essential oils, and then it's just whenever there is dark energy around me or I want to smell nice, and uplift, I just spray myself and it's beautiful, it's nice. Covers up all kind of odors, and it's very pure. So that's very simple. Now, you can also, go in the way of visualization and energies. So, as a witch or magician, you would have like an athema, like a knife, and you would just, go and cut around everywhere, but make sure you don't cut yourself. You know? I think, I mean, if you have that properly charged up, this might be quite, effective. Now, naturally, I like those Danberites. They have a very sharp energy. And, sometimes, people are possessed and you never know when the demon jumps out. That's where they use a Danberite. Just wait for it. It's come on out and get sliced. So, it's good for cutting. Not well known. You just go around again, just like with a knife, visualizing and intent, cutting this off. Most people, of course, they are like, what's this called now? Selenite, yes. Here this is a Weber selenite, which has some steam metals on it. This is a straight selenite. Of course, they're relatively cheap and chunky. So they're very fibrous, and, you can, again, cut, with them. Now, and very similar, if you have a crystal that's very parallel, like this, or like this is even more extreme, very parallel. That means there's going to come a really straight, laser-like arrow out, and very good for cutting. Now, your cutting is only as good as your chi is. Just don't think that, your the effectiveness comes from the paraphernalia. No. I mean, I got a beautiful magic wand, but I can run more chi out my finger than a novice, through a nice magic wand. So the main thing is actually, and this of course good for any mystic, you gotta soup yourself up, you charge yourself up with chi, so you can use this chi in its modified form, to cut off the other chi, to counteract the other chi, which is those cords. These are all astral constructs on the astral level. So how do you chi yourself up? Well, breathing is the way. Visualizing helps a little bit, intent helps, purification helps, but breath is the way. People get excited sexually or angry, everybody starts breathing. So you can breathe very deeply, from the earth. It's, the strongest energy. You can also pull the energy from heaven and earth into your heart. Or when you know Kundalini Yoga, you do breath of fire. So I'm not going to bore you now with doing 5 or 10 minutes of breath of fire. But, that's definitely the most powerful one. If you can do 10 minutes of breath on fire, you can cut. You will have emanations from your fingers like big baseball gloves. So, so you're charged up, and then on the inhale, so you fill your heart with source love or with whatever you can access. And then on the exhale, you run this chi through your wand, through your crystal, through your selenite, and with this light, you imagine cutting off, around you. You can also, go around your force field, as if you drying all, wetness from your arm, or just cutting off, tickers, stickers, whatever. So that's one way of doing it. Of course, you don't need all those gadgets. I said, hand gestures, like, you'll do it, together with your breath. You can snap it. Another way, if you notice that, suddenly, something cords you on the neck, and I mean, I wouldn't do this in the public, but you can just go, clap your hands really hard. That sends a shock wave, through the astral. And whatever this is, get disturbed and punched pretty hard. Especially ghosts and critters like this. It doesn't take much skill to clap and it really messes them up. Same principle with the firecrackers, that the Chinese do. These shock waves, they go also through the astral. Whatever is in the physical then fizzles off into the astral, and it just knocks them out. Anyhow, so, but of course you can't do this always in the office or public environment on the bus, unless you are in New York, maybe you get away with this. So what do? If you see there is an energy vampire coming, he's your boss that always sucks you dry and makes you feel bad, or Aunt Betty that chews your ear off. So when you can't get away, first thing is you cross your arms. If it's, you generally want to cross it over your solar plexus, because that's generally where they try to attach. They don't really have a heart chakra much. And you probably even will feel, if you're sensitive, a pain in your solar plexus when they're trying to attach. So you put your arm on the solar plexus. If your heart, goes bad, you can, have one hand up there, protecting your throat, protecting your heart, And then the really big move is you go sideways. So they don't get, onto your chakras front and back. Sideways makes them a lot more difficult. And you also cross your legs. I'm not going to give you a low shot now, but you know how to cross your legs. So sideways leg crossing, so your leg crossing, they can't get into your root chakra. So just this physical posture, will close you off, makes it harder to get to you. And then you smile like an idiot, because they can't get to high vibration. When you smile, you have high vibration, and they can't get to it. You're resonating up here, they're resonating down there. But if you frown, low vibration, your survival mind, they can get to you and suck you dry. That's why they like to make you angry or suffer or stuff like this. Now, also, there are visualizations that we should do. And I have to say, visualizations have to be trained. Just like in martial arts, you don't have to think about it. Something happens, your block is up, you don't think. Bam, it happens. So same, and you train this block, maybe 100 times a day, or like 1,000 times, in some dojo they do, a block or a kick or hit 1,000 times, So in the same way, and yeah, you don't want to mess with somebody like this. They can hit you, half drunk. It doesn't matter. It's burnt into the memory. The same way, you want to train your visualization. So that is when it means, force field up. You have visualized this so many times and pumped it up so many times that bam, it's just there within a second. Right? It takes some dedication and so on, but if you're sensitive, you better invest in this, right? It will serve you, for the rest of your life. So first of all, basic visualization, you imagine yourself, in this bubble of white light. And now, of course, you can also program this with the intent, so let the universe know what you want. And generally, there are certain barriers that we want to put on. You don't want to live like completely isolated. So, you wanted, let the good vibes in, and the bad vibes out. Low vibration out, good vibes in, first of all. Very important. And then, you can also be more specific. Let's say, you're going to a supermarket, or, or on a soccer game or somewhere, and those energies, they're too strong for you. So you can specify, is it the noise you want to cancel out, or is it the energies, or is it just low energies? And, there are people, they're considered schizophrenic because they hear voices. Now, I worked with quite some few schizophrenics, and, once we cleared the ghosts that were angry of them, they didn't hear those voices anymore, So they were not hallucinating, that's the assumption, of the diagnosis schizophrenic, they were actually, hearing telepathically, angry ghosts, or rascal ghosts. And once they were taken care of, there was peace of mind. But unless you're there and cleared them all out, you can, request that, the noise, whatever, is being filtered out. So you can ask for all kinds of filters there. And for instance, I mean, you may have some allergies, and, you don't, certain food may upset you, so we can ask that you also be filtered out, but, I'm not responsible. That's your own experiment. Now, personally also, what is quite important for seers, in so-called schizophrenics, is that there is a filter on what you see. Because once you've seen it, it's very difficult to make this unseen. That's why many veterans, do this or this here, to just get away, from the ghost and horror scenes, that they have been part of. So you want to make sure, that there is a filter, that that you don't see all the nasty stuff. As a therapist, oh my God, I go through so many in one session. I might go through several sacrifices and murders and all kinds of horrible things. So I don't want to see all this, not having to forget this. I mean, I just want to see what I need to navigate. And that's it. All right. So that's about it. Now, well, it's a little bit more. So we not only get corded like when we make love or when we in a street fight, or getting drunk with our friends or at the family meeting, but also on Zoom and over the phone, or Skype, especially healers, absentee healers, like me, there's definitely recording going on, and definitely after a healing session, or especially, well, if you're a massage therapist, you're having your hand on them, oh God, you gotta definitely be very, very careful. Not only that they drain you, but also that they dump their toxin into you. It's several times to me that I got knocked out for a couple of days. I mean, just sleeping, for 2 days. You can absorb this toxic energy. So always afterwards, ask that, their energy goes back to them, your energy comes back to you, and that nothing dark or funky or inappropriate stays with you. There might be some sexual attraction or anything like this, you want to nip this in the bud right there. So very important, your energy stays with you, my energy stays with me. Right. So there is a lot more, to talk about there. And, many times, you need help, especially when those people, attach themselves to you, and again, you got to find out, what is happening. So, I recommend that you, get a personal session, for something like this, or for pro. If you want me, I think you got an idea what I know. This is not book learning. So, yeah, we probably can take care of that. And, if you stay on, there's going to be, a lot of covers from other videos there, and see what resonates with you. And then when you want that spiritual spa, go to my library and listen to it. And again, I love you long time. Namaste.